We're not hearing you, Shivani.
Great. Caribbean Connect is pleased to have another Lunch and Learn series as we have been moving from Tuesday to Tuesday. This time, we have another interesting thought leader in entrepreneurship, Sajad Hamid. So Sajad, welcome. Thank you for being part of our Lunch and Learn series right here on Caribbean Connect. You know, definitely you are no stranger, I would say, to Caribbean Connect, right? You are no stranger. You're part of the family of Caribbean Connect, where we are all about promoting business, learning and development through many different thought leaders, as we have been doing for the past few years. So who is Sajad? Who is Sajad? So Sajad Hamid, you know, when I say Sajad, you are a generalizing specialist. You know a lot about everything. So yeah, you know a lot about everything, right? Sajad is an author, and we'll talk a lot about his new book that he has released on Amazon, Building Your Legacy, Your Family Business. A lot of us in business, and we want to be able to grow your business. So Sajad, that's how I'll introduce him. That's how I'll start to introduce him as an author. You know, a very congratulations on that. That's a major achievement. A major achievement to be able to have this book. And I know, you know, you took a lot of time, a lot of effort. You started, I mean, over the years, you have a newspaper column. And, you know, you tell persons who don't know about a newspaper column where you speak a lot about entrepreneurship. This is what you do. You are also a training and development professional, a lecturer. You know, by trade, you have started many different businesses. You pivot in many different capacities. So you have a lot of experience that you are bringing forward for entrepreneurship and really family business. And as you know, you and I will both say, knowledge is really power. A lot of persons would have explicit knowledge. You know, you go by the book, but what you are bringing here for us today during lunchtime, our Lunch and Learn series, is really about tacit knowledge, where you bring in your experience, and you will tell us about the framework that you have developed for growing your business. And that's what a lot of persons here may already been in business. You know, you're in business and you want to be able to grow. I myself, I find a lot of persons start up and, you know, after a few years, not even a few years, you just stop. So you don't know how to grow your business. And there are so many different traits that you'll tell us about. So thanks, Sajad. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here as we go week to week on Caribbean Connect. So Sajad, let me start first. Let me just ask the first question, right? Why is it important that you focus on a growth strategy? Why it is that you must focus on this growth strategy? The growth.
Right. So it's actually, well, there's an obvious answer to that one, is that if you don't grow the business and everybody else is growing, it means you're going to be left behind, right? Now, also is that entrepreneurs sometimes don't recognize this, is that you must have a certain amount of critical mass. Because if you don't have the size, you will not be able to enjoy the economies of scale of being big. So let's say, for instance, let's say I'm shipping things from Miami, and you could only buy a small amount. You know, if you go to the shipping company, they will probably give you the regular rates. But if you could ship more, they probably will give you a better rate, right? Yeah. Or if you're buying advertising or you're doing anything where you have to buy a lot, right? You will get a break, and so you could lower your costs. Now, there's another reason why you want to grow your business, is that if you're attracting employees and the business is stagnating, they will leave you and go to somebody else, right? So when you have a growing business, there are more opportunities for everyone, right? So that's basically the reason why you want to grow your business. Now, here's one of the things that keep entrepreneurs back, is that they spend a lot of time starting the business, and that is a mindset to start the business, right? You have to start it from yourself, maybe in your apartment, maybe in your garage, wherever. But then you need to move from that startup mindset to the scale-up mindset. Scale-up meaning grow your business, right? Just a different way of saying it. And then you need Then there are three things you need, and we could talk about this, three things you need to grow your business, right? And it's in my book, but I have more in the book than what we could talk about now. One is, you got to focus on the mindset, right? And that's very important. That's free, costless. And two is that you got to focus on strategies like the blue ocean strategy of looking for new markets out there. And then a third one, I like to call it far out opportunities. And I have a chapter on far out opportunities. It sounds like something from Star Trek, actually. It's somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. So we could talk about that. So you decide which one you want me to talk about.
So how could you focus on mindset? How could I focus on mindset? You know, right. I like the term mindset. You got me into the term mindset, and I like to use the word entrepreneur mindset, project management mindset. So how could I focus on mindset, help growing the business?
Right. So mindset basically is how you think and how you act. Now, people think, well, that's psychology. What does have to do with making money? But if you pick two people, right, and look at in your environment, maybe your community, and you will see that people who have two different mindsets, let's say one who have a more entrepreneurial mindset or group mindset, as opposed to somebody have a fixed mindset, is that the fixed mindset, people don't make any progress in life. They stay the same way, right? They say, well, there's nothing I could do, whatever. But somebody with this entrepreneurial mindset will be able to spot opportunities out there. Now, here's one of the problems people have when they look out there. Two things that keep them back. One is that people forget that entrepreneurship really starts outside of your comfort zone. So if you're in your comfort zone and you're enjoying it, you should really say the only way I should be comfortable is when I'm outside my comfort zone, uncomfortable with your comfort zone, right? And one thing that keep people back from going outside of their comfort zone is that when the human mind has to deal with uncertainty is a problem. It's like, Shivani, if you have to walk down a dark alley, the human mind kind of lights up. Your mind would light up and say, you could have threats over here, right? Let me get out of here or whatever, right? Maybe pull out my gun, or if you have a gun or whatever. But in entrepreneurship, it's the same thing. If you had to go outside of your comfort zone, and if you're happy with your business, you could be setting yourself up for stagnation. And the second problem that I've noticed entrepreneurs have is that they have something called a blind spot. Mm-hmm. When I say blind spot, I know when you're driving, if somebody come alongside you, the older vehicles, well, Shivani, you don't have an older vehicle. So you don't have, you will tell you in the newer vehicles that somebody's alongside you, right? I see my wife have that. I don't have that. And in real life, of course, you don't have that to tell you. But if you have a blind spot, you will miss opportunities. And it is important that you know where blind spots are. Now, if I say, how do I know where my blind spots are? Well, one way is that you could talk to you could have a mentor who will tell you, well, you're missing this point. Now, I'm telling you, even me, all these years in business, sometimes I miss things. And I ask myself, why did I miss it? Mm-hmm. Because we all have a blind spot, right? Yeah. So I think that those two issues that people got to deal with, the comfort zone and the blind spot.
Yeah. When you elaborate a little bit about the blind spot.
Right. So one of the issues that people have is that they miss things because there's a strategy called the blue ocean strategy, right? And that shows you how to look at things differently, right? We call it a cognitive way. So take, for example, if you could talk about, there's a circus in Canada called, but based in Canada, but all around the world, called Circus of the Sun. I mean, I can't say it in French. I could never say that in French.
Soleil or something. Soleil or
right.
Something like that, right?
Circus, right, something like that. But I say the translation, right?
Right.
And the circus business was dying for many years. Because people didn't like they're beating up the animals, and they have them in cages, and then it's very risky. And then they have this thing called slapstick humor. Where you have two clowns and they slap up one another. I don't know if you have seen that, right? It's called slapstick humor. And people are getting tired of that. And the bad benches and the tents weren't very good and all that, right? But Circus of Soleil came and said, let's change this. Let's take out some of that stuff, to keep the animal rights people happy. And they added their own music. And they took out some of the risky stuff, the acrobatics where they do it on the nets and sometimes things go wrong. And so people were blind to that. So while the Ringling Brothers were going out, I think they're gone out of business. Circus of the Sun, I'll say it in English, right? They opened a new market, which is also called a blue ocean market, right? And they had it all to themselves. Now, they actually charge much more than what Ringling Brothers were called way back. So that's an example that Ringling Brothers they didn't see that, right? They didn't see that they could develop a new market, right?
So they didn't have the mindset. That's what you mean. That they didn't have the mindset.
Yeah. They didn't have the mindset.
So something, Sajjad, that came to my mind when you talk about that entrepreneurs and business persons and growing your business, that you need to focus on mindset. You need to focus on mindset. Something you said there that really triggered when you talk about blind spots. People need mentors, they need coaching, you need to be able to, you need to coach, sometimes it's something that you need to develop. You need to develop your mindset, right? Not all the times you may just have it just like that. Right. So you had to develop your mindset to write this book.
Right. But let me tell you, I'll go back about 15, 20 years when I encountered this word entrepreneurial mindset, this concept. And a colleague and I, we had a dispute, and I said, we're spending too much time on mindset, right? Mm-hmm. And I disagreed with her. And the reason being is that I came from a family of business people. Mm-hmm. So growing up, my father had a business, and I was, we had conversations, and then he would tell me, one day he told me, we had an estate. It was contract work with a big company. And we had an estate, what they call an estate, about 100 acres, and mostly citrus. So we had a Land Rover. When I say Land Rover, the old Land Rovers, not the Range Rovers, right? It is the old one, you go up the road and it's shaking up, and like those Flintstone cars, you go on a pothole and you go up and you come down back. And he said, well, you got to work on the estate, make sure the people work, and you got to sell the produce and give me money. No, I didn't like that deal. That deal wasn't too good for me. I was about 18, 19. I just got licensed, and I want to hang around and all this kind of thing. And then I said, well, Dad, I tried to cut a deal with them. I said, here, I'll sell the customers that you have, right? I'll give you the money. But if I find new customers, could I take that money? He said, you go ahead, because he was struggling to get customers. And I was driving up the road with his oranges to give to his sell to his customers. And then I would see people, when I pull over with the Land Rover, and I would sell them. In 1 week, I remember I sold $4,000, right? Mm-hmm. Now, that was a long time ago. That is equivalent to about $10,000 in oranges. So I was making some good money. Actually, I was selling more than to his customers. And he was kind of like worried about that. And and marketing people are actually the first people to make the leap from, let's say, if you're working in a company, in a marketing or a sales job, to become an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I hate to say this, I don't want to put down accountants and engineers, but it take a bigger leap to do it, right? Mm-hmm. And actually, when I went over to study, well, obviously, I like marketing, so I ended up my first degree is in marketing. And that's an important function of an entrepreneur. And Shivani, you are the same as you do, is that you got to go out there and market. I like to call it business development, because it's a combination of sales and marketing and entrepreneurial mindset, which is my last week's article in The Guardian, right? So the mindset takes a while to develop. It doesn't happen in one course. You got to keep at it, keep challenging it. Look at something like a fence. People say, well, that is a fence, a security fence. And my neighbors see it as that, keep out the dogs, the bandits, whatever. I see it as a way to grow corally. Mm-hmm. So my fence will have corally, body, and that sort of thing. Well, some of my neighbors who are not well off, struggling to buy 5 pounds of corally. If I can give them it and I say, hey, you have a fence, they're pulling on the vines and all, they never thought about that. So mindset is really the foundation of everything entrepreneurial that you do. If you don't have the mindset, eventually you'll go out.
Mm-hmm. The mindset.
Yeah.
So other than mindset, what are the strict strategies could you use to grow your venture? So let's talk about other things besides mindset.
Right. So you could look at there are many things. The second one is your business model. Now, I know people use that word a lot. I'll just take it for granted that you know it's how you earn your revenue, how you incur your costs, and how you manage your risk, right? That's the simplest way I could put it. So I'm going to give you an example of Southwest Airlines. I remember when I was in university doing my marketing degree, the professor gave us the case study on Southwest Airlines. Now, I've never traveled Southwest Airlines. I must do it one day. And airlines at the time, you know, the Deltas and the American Airlines, they had basically two classes. They had, you know, the first class, and then they had the what I call the sardine class, right? Which is I traveled in the sardine class, right? Shivani, you go on the business class, right? So
thanks,
what happened? Yeah, thanks. Okay, right. Yeah. So what happened was is that the people who started Southwest Airlines, I can't remember the guy's name right now, we recognized, say, hey, if we could offer low-cost fares to everybody, we'll have a missing middle of the market, the economy class could get a better deal. But to do so required a different business model. So what he did was, airlines at the time had 4 and 5 different types of planes, right? So he said he will have one type of plane, which is the 737, right? It's an economy plane, mid-range. And they will fly to not the congested airports and pay plenty of money. They will fly to, instead of flying to Miami, they'll fly to Fort Lauderdale, where they would have pay lower, I think, slotting allowances or whatever. When you have one plane, you have to train your pilots in 2 different planes, and the handling crew will have problems, and you could go and sit on any seat. You have to have somebody telling you where to sit and that sort of thing. And everybody want to sit here and there, whatever. You sit anywhere you want. And originally, they removed a lot of the frills. So I remember originally they had no food. I think they brought it in back, but you have to pay for the food, right? And maybe somebody in the Zoom will put in a chat, that they have traveled with Southwest and what they thought about the tickets and all that, right? So what Southwest Airlines did had a new business model. They kind of created what they call the budget airline, the low-cost airline. Later on, you had JetBlue and you had Ryanair and all these people. So that was a new way of looking. Now, you might say there was no technology there. And people think technology is the only thing you should focus on and change your business model. You don't necessarily need technology. Your technology is nice, right? But they just bought 737 which were available. And they would deliver in that low cost structure and they could charge people less. Right? So that's an example of the business model change, right? So anybody in the chat travel with Southwest Airlines?
I was now going to ask that, yeah. I recognize some people that might have. They're not telling us.
Right. You know, Shivani, while they're typing up, here's the incredible thing. When I was in my bachelor's, right? And we finished that case study on Southwest, and the professor asked this question in the class. Who would buy shares in Southwest Airlines? This was in late 90s. The case was written in 1980s, right? And nobody. Now, you know what is strange about it? I had some extra money, which I'd saved for the past 2 years going to school. And my bank had just allowed us to buy shares on the stock market because they became a broker. And I opened an account. And if I had only bought shares in Southwest Airlines, I probably would have not been here. Shivani will have to, talk to me somewhere in some island somewhere, Right? So
if you had done it.
If I had done it, right? But you don't buy shares in any company. I mean, if you don't have money, you can buy shares. But if you start a company and you know how to change your business model, change your mindset, your company is your investment. So that's, you're buying shares there, right? In your own company. And that's just as good. I don't own shares, unfortunately. I sold some of my shares. I invest in my company, just like Shivani invest money in her company, right?
What about a third strategy to grow your business? I know you mentioned that in your book. What about a third strategy?
Right. So this one, I like to call it far out opportunities. I have a whole chapter on this one. Now, far out opportunities is basically 2 things you could do. If you already have a business, and this frequently happens with mature entrepreneurs who sometimes they get itch. They say, let me start the next business.
Yeah.
So when you start another business, you become a serial entrepreneur, right? So you see it all around. You could go to, there's a hardware called Ramlagans in Central, and he has a hardware. And then you would see some other ones selling electrical and appliances close by. Well, he has probably a plan too, is that he has kids, and he probably, you know, say, look, let me give this one a business. So you probably give one daughter this business and next daughter that business. So he is actually a serial entrepreneur. And that's one way to grow your business by starting the next business. So I know a lady called Shivani Sivnarayan, right? Mm-hmm. And she had a business called Borderlink, and she used to do a lot of training in project management, and she did very, very well, right? Sometimes I drive in and a Q5 passed me and waved to me, and I waved back, and that's sort of thing, right? And then apparently she got itch, and then she decided to start another business called Caribbean Connect, because Caribbean Connect business model is different from Borderlink. If she tried to do it with the same business model, I believe she might have a mix-up in the customer, might not understand what she's doing and all that. And she started Caribbean Connect to not only do training and stuff and focus on entrepreneurs, but to sell their products, right? And I think I'm talking about you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the marketing.
Right.
The free marketing.
That ad was brought to you by Caribbean Connect. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
So that's far out opportunities.
Right. So, and who knows? Maybe next 2 years, Shivani have another company. Yeah. And another company, because she starts to itch. She get kind of bored. She's making a lot of money in project management. So she's trying something else, and that's how it goes, right? And that's frequently the case. So there's I know you're going to ask about the second one in far out opportunities. And this is the blind spot, right?
Let's hear that one, yeah. What do you call it? The second what?
The second far out opportunity. So the first one, is serial entrepreneur, becoming a serial entrepreneur like yourself. And the second
sorry, Saj. The serial entrepreneur is somebody who just move from business to business, then grow business, not move, but grow businesses. Different models.
There's like a serial killer. Kill people. I hate to use that example, right? So they would set up a business and it matures, and then they start up a next business, and they may be driven by opportunity, or maybe they have kids and they want to keep them separate, because sometimes kids, sibling rivalry, that sort of thing. Or sometimes it's just like a friend of mine, he just sees opportunity. He has the mindset, every time I call this guy, he always doing something. In fact, I don't like to ask him what's his latest business idea, because I'll just feel stupid, right? And he always tells me he's on top of the world. Well, I know why he's on top of the world, because most of the business I've started has done quite well. Not all, but most of them. So come back to your question about what other way you could grow a business. So you can become a serial entrepreneur. But here's another thing that most companies are missing, whether it be small companies or large companies, is that there is a different way to look at businesses. If you're into business-to-business marketing, a blind spot in almost every company is that they're missing the strategy, and you could develop this. So when you leave here today, you have something to run with. And I want you to think, when you're selling to customers, business customers, you always ask this question, where's the money, right? And how you get it? Well, most of the people with the money in Trinidad, the people name, all ethnic groups and all kind of, I don't get into that. But the wealthy people in Trinidad are people who own a family business. Now, family businesses dominate the landscape, yet we don't see them. It's like you have a snake in your house and you don't see the snake. Well, in family is not a snake. I'm just saying that, right? So and you could ask, if you work for a company, ask them, what is their marketing strategy concerning selling to a family business? And they have none. In fact, if some of you all did your business degree, you probably will not have studied family business. Now, how could they be so popular? They're more than 50% of businesses. And maybe Shivani, your business or family business too, I'm not sure. Is it?
No, but it would eventually turn into that. Right. Yes, you're right.
So when you bring your kids, so it would eventually become a family business. Yeah. So my point is that if you want to grow, look at family businesses, and you might say, well, I mean, what's the difference with a family business and non-family business? And there's a big difference. Now, family businesses tend to be more entrepreneurial, the successful ones, right? So there are some big ones. I mean, like Ansa Makala, I would consider a family business. The SM Jalil company, the Mohammed Founders, are a family business. Southern Sales are a family business. But they are smaller ones, right? So let's say like the Ramlagans are called, I think it's Prisal, they're situated in. I mean, that business has been going by leaps and bounds, right? And I'm sure he grew that business because he brought in his kids. I think his only daughters here. I don't know him personally. I mean, I spoke to him a couple of times. And he must have given them a management education that they couldn't get anywhere else. Right? Mm-hmm. And yes, that may have helped them. I sure these kids don't have no big master's degree and all kind of thing, PhDs and whatever, right? So I'm saying you need to develop a strategy. I wish we had more time to talk about that, but it is in the book, basically how to sell their family business and whip everybody else out. Right?
So the second far out opportunities. What's the second far out opportunities?
Yeah, it's selling the family business.
Selling the family business.
Right.
But there's a lot of wealth in doing that.
Right.
If we go in that direction.
Yeah. Right.
So Sajjad, tell us more about what prompted you to write Build Your Legacy Business, your book. Tell us more about it. Why?
Right. So it's my first full-length book, right? So in case you want to write a book, right? Because actually that could be a legacy too, because when you think about it, 100 years from now,
people will know the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have the book, right? But 100 years from now, nobody will remember you unless you have a lot of property and all. I remember my great-grandfather. I mean, I never met him, but I remember, well, from the photograph and what he did, he had a lot of land, I think it's 10 acres of land, right? He was illiterate, but he had 10 acres of land. He came from India, but they outsmarted him, didn't give him any land, which most people don't notice. And he was an imam and he got land and we live in it, right? So let me just tell you how, if you're going to write a book, I mean, first you have to think like an entrepreneur. If you have to be a self-published person, what they call an indie author, right? Indie means independent author. So the title of the book, Build Your Legacy Business. I said, let me check and see what they have on that. Now, Amazon has about 80% of the book market in the United States. They probably have over 50% of the global market. They close along bookstores left, right, and center, right? So the first place I'll start, I went to Amazon and I looked at the word legacy business or business legacy, and I didn't find too much. Now, I had this idea in my head. Now, I teach entrepreneurship and family business. So I said to connect them would be very easy because a lot of entrepreneurs end up having a family business. A lot of family businesses are entrepreneurial. So it was easy for me to connect the dots. Now, remember, entrepreneurs connect dots, right? And connecting dots, sometimes you see what was a puzzle to everybody now becomes something very clear to the entrepreneur. And again, as the mindset thing. So I searched on that, and then I said, how could I write this thing? How could I write this thing? And I said, you know what I'll do? I'll start with the mindset, which is part A. Mm-hmm. I'll assume that somebody who wants to start a business, so that's part B, and I have the chapters on it. And part C, I will have grow your business. And part D and E, the fourth and the fifth part, I would say now, start your family business, because you can have a business, but just to bring people in, the family members, that takes a doing. And the last part, which is grow your family business. So you start, grow, going up to family business. And I deal with succession issues and how do you do the death of a loved one in the family business and all that. So, that is the reason why I came up with that. And I have a lot of, Shivani, if I'm not mistaken, I think I have you in the book. I think I put it down somewhere. I can't remember exactly. It's about 300 something pages. You want to write it and do something, I forget what I put, right? So if you want to read a little bit about Shivani.
Read it in the book, good.
It's in the book, right? So it's available on Amazon, right? The Kindle version is $7.99 US. And that's TT of $55 for a 300-page book. That's a real good deal. And if you want paperback, some people like paperbacks. You get for $11.99. When it's shipped here, it might land here for about $100 or something, right?
Okay, good.
Right.
So, anybody got any questions in the meantime? Nikisa, you wanna ask any questions? I know you've been on our Lunch and Learn series right through for the past few months. Nikisa, no, we're not hearing you.
I came in a little late, but we could basically go through the strategies for growing the business.
Right.
Yes, certainly. So what I'm saying is it comes down to grow a business, to upscale a business. It basically, But I just picked three, but more, you could get it in the book. Is one, is that if you have the mindset, you'll be able to come out of your comfort zone and be able to explore new territory. Or you may have blind spots that is preventing you from seeing opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's the mindset. The second strategy gives, I like to call it the blue ocean strategy, where you could try to change your business model, the way you do things. Like, for example, I'll just use me as an example. I use Shivani. Is that I was doing face-to-face training before 2020. And this was going good. I was saying, well, I finally made it in life, and that sort of thing. Yeah. And then the pandemic came. Now, I knew something was going on because I was following that thing in December, because I looked at my credit card bill and I see in January, I started to buy all kind of medication, all kind of thing before the pandemic. What I should have done is that I should have tried immediately to try to move to an online business model, right? So I changed my business. So now I could do things online, right? So I bought a subscription to e-commerce platform, right? So if you go to my website, but my email is there. Just put instead of at gmail.com, you can put just.com, right? And you'll see my email platform where you could have courses done. I could sell my book, I could sell this, I could sell that, and that's what anybody, any part of the world. So in a way, it was good that it happened. I mean, I suffered for a year. I had to do training in how should I call it, online teaching, because my teaching is a different ball game altogether, right? You can't just do the same thing; it just won't work, right? So that would be the second one, change your business model. The third one would be, I call it far out opportunities. Far out means people don't think about them, and there are two subsets here. One is that you can focus on being a serial entrepreneur. Maybe you can start another business. And this is mostly for the people who have medium-sized business. So if you just start, you may not want to start another business, because if you just start a business like a cash sponge, it's not like a cash cow, because if it's a cash sponge, it's still taking money and that sort of thing, right? And the second one under far out opportunities is called selling to family businesses. And family businesses, I like to tell insurance people, I train insurance agents, that they don't teach them that, how to sell a family business. Actually, I have a course called Selling Their Family Business I do for the Insurance Association, TIFA, right? So you may want to focus on those things to grow a business, Nikisha.
Thanks for the question, Nikisha. Hope it was answered. Thanks, Sajad.
Yes, it was. Thanks.
Okay.
You spoke a lot about far out opportunities. I like that idea and the business model. A lot of times persons cannot grow their business because, they're not coming out of their comfort zone. I mean, we had it from face-to-face and brick and mortar moving into an online, and not all businesses could have survived because of that. They just didn't have the mindset to do it, right? And then some persons might say, monetary, but of course it all sets with having the correct business model and the ability to change, and not say, and I guess that's the definition of entrepreneurship in a way. You have to have that as a trait, I should say, change and to be able to pivot, right? And if you don't, then you'll be doing the same thing and it might work, right? So thank you. Any questions again? I know persons might want to ask about the book. How do you get the book? Saja, do you want to tell us a little bit about it again? How do you get the book?
Right. So if you want to get a free book or so, Thursday, I'm having a book launch virtual, right? So it's a low cost way. So if you send me an email, I could send you the link to register, right? And I've given them a couple of books, right? It's on Thursday at 1 to 2. That's this Thursday here.
So people will just email you at the same email address that I put?
Right. Yeah, they could do that, and I will send them the thing to register, right? So I'll send them the form to register, and register, and it will capture the thing, and then it will send them their the Zoom link, right? So if you want the book, it's on Amazon. Just type in my name, right? Under books, just go under books on Amazon. Or you could put the name of the book, which is Shivani, you have the book. You could pull it up, or you will pull it up.
Pull it up. Let me allow you to. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, allow me to pull it up. I'll just show the cover.
Share, yeah. So share screen.
Right. Let me see if I could get it here. Hold on. So it's called Build Your Legacy. Let me just take over this. Right. Hold on. build your legacy business, right? Let me just go back here, right? So just give me a second.
Right, I'm just putting your name so that persons will remember too. Sajjad, S-A-J-J-A-D. So just search and you'll find it.
Right. So this is the book. Well, it looks like a hardcover, but it's soft for Kindle, right? So it's Build Your Legacy Business. And actually coming up with a name, it took a while. Imagine it took me a few weeks before I figured out this one, because I had to think about something different. So I think Build Your Legacy Business. And the subtitle actually gives you an idea of what the book is about, in addition to the main heading, right? Which is solopreneur. Because most people start as solopreneurs to becoming a family business hero. So when you finally have a family business, you become a hero, and that is what you call a legacy business, right? It looks like a hardcover. Actually, it's not a hardcover. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. All right. I think it's a good buy. I mean, if you're starting off as an aspiring entrepreneur, you have stuff to start your business. If you're already there and you want to grow your business, we have a section called Grow Your Business. If you're at a family business stage, you also have something for you. So this book actually is targeted for practitioners, not really academic thing. And it takes you through most of the spectrum, the continuum of entrepreneurship from start to family business. And I must say, I'm not aware there's any book in Trinidad that does that. Or I don't know how many books there are on at least a section on family business. Right. So this is kind of an innovative way of looking at it.
Blue ocean strategy. You right. Did it for yourself.
So I live it too, right?
Yes, of course. Great, right. Great. So thank you for sharing that. Everybody's seen it, that where we can go online and actually look at it. And as Sajjad, what you said, you have a number of training. We have a number of training with Sajjad right here, where we have developed an interactive workshop on how persons can grow your business, which is very, very necessary now. If we don't do things like this, you'll see that you just remain and you don't grow. You don't grow your business, and you don't have sustainability. So I've also put on the chat. You could join Sajjad on LinkedIn, yeah, and you can follow him. So he has a large following, so you can see and get a lot of more information on his book and on different training. So we have with Sajjad on Caribbean Connect a training program. So please contact us at Caribbean Connect or Sajjad on growing your business. It's an interactive workshop where, Sajjad has developed a framework. You implement the framework, you have to go home, do exercises, come back, etc. And of course, you can follow on his Business Guardian, the column. Sajjad, any closing words? Because we'll see you back here again on Thursday. I mean, persons will see you on Thursday when they come to actually hear about your book more.
Right.
So any closing words you want to talk?
Yeah, you'll get more details then. But I want to say this is that there's a lot of focus on gloomy stuff, right? I mean, I know flooding is a problem. I get scared too when it rains. I used to enjoy, hearing the rain on the roof in my house. I live in Central, and actually, I kind of above the ground because I raised when I was building 15 years ago. I knew about climate change back 15 years ago, but I know there's crime. I sleep with, of course, with my usual cutlass under my bed, and the flooding and all those, the recession and all that. But I want you to remember, entrepreneurs, even when they face challenges, their job is to find a way around them. If we had more entrepreneurs in Trinidad, we would not be in recession. And I want you to leave you with this line. And if you meet me out there and maybe in the bookstore when it's sold, I'll always tell you this line is, may you always have the mindset of an entrepreneur.
Whether you are working in the corporate world or not.
Right?
Or not, yes. I totally agree with you, Sajjad. Always have that as part of your everyday thinking. Even if you may not be a practicing entrepreneur and you're working within an organization, develop the entrepreneurial ability. We see that when persons don't do that within an organization, you would have, you can't pivot, you can't change your business model because you don't have the entrepreneurial mindset. And we use those terms loosely, entrepreneur. It's very true.
Well, Shivani, I don't know we're wrapping up now, but actually my next article, I should finish for next week, is called How to Become an Entrepreneur, IN, which is an entrepreneur inside
the
an organization, right?
Yeah.
And still, it morphed into something yet. You know, it's like it's still developing in my mind, but that should be out next Thursday, if I put it together. So people who are salaried employees and you want to be a star employee, or you want to get a promotion, right? I'll show you how to be an entrepreneur in the article, or you get on LinkedIn the day afterwards, how to become an entrepreneur, IN instead of EN, entrepreneur.
What about Ali? We are seeing, I think Ali wants to ask a question. Ali, yeah? Your hand was up. Okay. No?
What about Millet?
I thought I saw a hand that was up, but feel free if anybody would like to ask. Ali had his hand up, but no longer, no problem. Great. So thank you again, Sajad. Thank you to the audience. Caribbean Connect says thanks to keep growing. We got some other persons now coming into the call. So we say thank you to everyone. So looking forward. So Ali was saying he's looking forward to your article. Okay. Right. Well, I look forward for our training workshop on growing your business, because it's something that I wonder if I'll say it's a pet peeve of mine. A lot of times persons start up in business and they return, actually, Sajid, they return to they try to get an 8 to 4 job back because they find that they're not making it in the entrepreneurial world. And I always tell them, I said, well, you know, you have to come and do the workshop with Sajid. You know, you will see that you will be able to continue, get the mindset, blue ocean strategy, find new business models. You don't have to go back into the workplace just because you believe that you're not making, I mean, at the end of the day is to make money, right? And if you can't, you go back. But this is the whole point of growing your business, so that this is what you want to do. So thank you, Sajad. Thank you, everybody. My key takeaways, and I hope it's your key takeaways: strategies for growing your business. And of course, we will continue the conversation a lot more in our very interactive workshop. So thanks again, Sajad. For those of us on Thursday, look forward to seeing you all also in your virtual launch, right? For your book, and many articles and many workshops. Millet got a question. Millet, yes, feel free.
No, it wasn't a question. In closing, I was just giving a thumbs up.
Oh, a thumbs up, not a hand.
For the information provided. So it's my first time in the Connect, the launch session you're having. Good session, great way to spend the launch hour. So I actually don't have a business right now. I logged on because I was interested in actually starting out in business, and I just looking out, and all information that comes my way would be good information in terms of guidance.
Good.
So thanks for the information in terms of growing your business. But I still only have starting the business phase.
So no, but we have training workshops also on that. So yes, with Sajad to start your entrepreneur. So I'm glad you came in to see when you do start your business, how you could grow it. So that's good. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Tuesday, again, in some other Lunch and Learn. And we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Don't forget on Thursday to hear more about the book launch. Thanks again, Sajad. Thanks again, everyone.
Welcome.
And we look forward for Caribbean Connect Lunch and Learn series right here every Tuesday. Actually, today was Monday was the start of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And this is part of our Global Entrepreneurship celebrations, one of our Lunch and Learn. On Wednesday, which is tomorrow night, we have the Business of TASA, right? So we look forward for you being part of that conversation as well, right here on Caribbean Connect. Thanks again, everyone. See you all. Thanks, Sajad. Until we meet.
Well,
yes, Sajad, good.
Well, we hoping that we'll have more people, but that's how it is. No,
I thought so too, man.
You don't send an email out like an hour before.
Yes, but this time it wasn't done because Zapier, I have to pay the 2,400 back for Zapier. Zapier is the automatic thing now.
Right.
And well, the subscription lapse. So normally it does happen. Normally you do get it. But I don't know if that is work. Because we were doing it all the time. But we were doing it all the time. All the time. But I have the names of the persons. So you send me an email, right? I will forward it to them in terms of the book.
Right.
To tell them about the virtual launch, the 26 persons to go to your virtual launch. I will do that.
Right.
Yeah. So it was good, man. We'll get a promotion from it, I'm sure.
Right. Well, let me see what happens.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Good. See you later. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.